Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the show today. Of course, this is comics news today for July 5th of the year 2021, and things have been moving quite along very quickly here. But then again, the older I get, the quicker things go. How back-assward is that, though? It's just not right. Nevertheless, of course, it's early in the morning for me. I've been up working for many hours, though, but that's normal. But I do have coffee. It is a nice sunny day. I got the AC on because it's necessary, and I'm sitting with friends, so it can't get much better, I would say, unless I had some barbecue. Damn
Oh,
it!
that's nice. Who are your friends?
I have a dog.
Oh, you don't need any other friends when you have a dog.
That's true.
That's
He
the only
loves
friend you
me
need.
unconditionally. Do you have
That's
a
good.
dog who loves you unconditionally, Booster?
I did. He's no longer with us, but I
Oh,
still love him.
that sucks. You
Mhm.
can always get
Oh,
another
he
dog.
lived. He lived to be 18. He was a wee trooper. That one.
Oh wow, that's a good long life for a dog, dude. That's excellent.
He's an absolute trooper
What was his
and a
name?
very good boy. His name was Zach.
Zach. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. All right.
Mm.
What kind of dog was he?
He was a miniature collie crossed with a spaniel. He was a funny little character. He's a maniac. I absolutely loved him.
Huh. That does sound actually quite interesting dog.
Yeah.
I never had dogs when I was a kid. My grandmother had one, so it wasn't like I wasn't completely unexposed. But my mom was a cat person. And I was always rather indifferent, to be honest with you. But I decided to get my wife and I decided to get a dog when the kids were around 10, 12 years old, and which is suggested to be the perfect time to do so. I'm glad I did.
That's a very good age. That's a very good age for a kid to have a dog.
Yeah. And I am happy with it. I've enjoyed being a dog owner. Unfortunately, when this one eventually does pass, whenever that is, I won't be buying another one anytime soon, though, because my wife and I have travel plans, and that's the real negative thing about a dog. You can't really travel with a dog well. So,
Yeah, no, you can't.
yeah.
They're they don't sit still well.
No, and it's unfair to do that. But during that age, it was fine. It was perfect. We're home people, so it worked out. But now I know that you're quite the lover of dogs, Sundaro. I would say, yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
That's
and
right. Yeah. It's a reciprocal of dogs love me too, to the point where people would tell me all the time, "Oh, be careful, he'll bite you," and they come up and just wag their tail and sit right in front of me usually, or jump up on me and try to kiss me. Oh, I'm like, yeah, he's real vicious. I even had a dog that was abused horribly,
oh, that's too bad.
and people said, "Oh, you got to be careful petting him because he just randomly will bite you. You won't even see it coming." I was like, "We'll see what happens."
Mm.
By the end of that night, he was sitting down basically laying on my lap. But yeah, he's beyond repair, guys.
Yeah,
For
no,
whatever
yeah.
reason, my father and I are just dog whisperers. They just love us
Well,
to
that's
the
good
point
though.
where my wife and I will go walking in the park. People be walking their dogs, and they'll just every single one of them, except for really skittish ones, will just try to come to me and let me pet them. It's just what it is.
Well, that's
Dogs
good.
love me.
That's a
I
good thing.
prefer. This is why I prefer the company of dogs over people, because they're much better. If we just left the world to the dogs,
Yeah.
I think the world would do better. Honestly, I
There'd be
think we'd be in a better space.
there'd be more sex. I know that.
There'd
Yeah.
be a lot more of that. There'd be a lot more happiness.
Uh, not with the dogs, I hope.
No, no, no. It's a
Okay.
dog eat dog world. So, but
Yeah.
it's interesting. Yesterday, I on my Mondays, which of course is your Sunday, I have my adult. It's my adult class day. I have all my kids stuff is all handled throughout the rest of the week as far as my teaching and what I'm doing. Right. Because my school is not so big that I can't just sit back and let my other teachers handle it. I'm part I do more classes than they do actually, but nevertheless, I handle all that stuff on Monday, and I got a big, huge doctor class, right? And of course, doctors they're not required. Nurses are required, and I have a lot of nurse students too. But doctors are encouraged to be able to speak English, in case some foreigner comes into their clinic or in the hospital or something like that. Makes sense, right? And
Mm.
I've had doctors ever since I've been here. I imagine any English teacher in Japan is dealing with that. It's probably common. Anyway, we got into a PETA conversation yesterday.
Oh no.
No, it was very interesting. This is not the West,
The
dude. You can actually sit down
PTA.
and have a debate,
Mm-hmm.
an honest one. But
Mm-hmm.
it
Uh,
was a really interesting conversation, and people had different opinions. But one of the doctors, I think, he's a dentist, I think. He had said because we got into talking about farming and stuff like that, and the cruelty of it and all that kind of stuff. And I get that argument, but I said, well, show me a group of people who love animals more than farmers.
Correct.
I mean, and they were like, "What? You can't love an animal and then kill it." I'm like, "Well, you've clearly never been anywhere near animals before, because you certainly can." And I kind of laid the whole argument down, and in the end, everyone agreed. But I thought it was really interesting that because these are city-bound people, they don't know anything about
some
animals whatsoever.
cultures eat some cultures eat their pets after they die, as a way to honor them.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
But these are city people. They have no idea about stuff, and I'm very lucky because my parents specifically always had a garden, and we didn't have animals. My grandparents did. My uncle has a huge old horse ranch, so I've been around animals my whole life, at least my childhood. And that statement that there's no one who loves animals more than farmers is extremely, extremely true.
Yep.
And I gave examples, and one of the ones I used was the example of the old sow. I don't know if you guys have any experience with keeping pigs, but a lot of
Oh yeah.
times what you'll do if you have a small farm, I'm not talking about mass production here, but like subsistence farming type of thing. And
Yep.
you have a lot of people. What they'll do is you have your sow, and you'll pay a certain amount of money, or you have a friend who has a boar, and you'll bring it in, and you breed the sow, and you'll have all the babies come out, and you raise them up, and you take them to slaughter, and you have meat for a year, and then you do it again and again and again. And when that comes to the point that that sow's old, you don't just take her and bury her in the backyard. You shoot her in the head and you eat her too. But it's usually probably one of the saddest things they do because that sow has allowed that family to survive for what, a decade, right?
Yeah.
And this is I gave this example and I explained it in quite detail, and I think that was what won the argument. But it
Well,
is.
the other thing that people don't understand, and it's even people I know don't understand this or didn't understand it till I explained it to them. The greatest conservationist force on planet Earth is American hunters.
Oh yeah,
Greatest, there is not
absolutely.
a greater one because human civilization drove away all the natural predators, and if you don't cull the herd animals, they will destroy the ecosystem
And they
because they
suffer.
don't ever stop eating and they don't ever stop breeding and they just keep going. So American hunting keeps the ecosystem in check
Yeah.
with an absence of predators because we can't just reintroduce predators. That's a bad idea. So the best solution is for us to manage the wilds as best as we can,
Yeah.
and one of the best ways to do that is sport hunting. It's all over the world. They've started to take this up now, and that's why you have places where, and I don't personally agree with this, but it exists solely because of it. You have places where people can go do sport hunting of
Yeah.
big game and stuff. But what they've done is they've taken those animals, they've raised them, they brought them in, and a lot of the animals are now in a lot better status than they were when they just were sport hunting in the wild, where they sport hunt on these basically giant ranches. But the idea that hunters are the problem, or that it's not a conservative thing, which most hunters are fairly conservative people by and large, not all, but most, I would say it's pretty fair assessment. To say that they don't care about nature is ridiculous. They do.
Yeah.
Farmers especially do.
Yeah.
Their farming has been proper farming is one of the most conservationist things you can do. The problem is, see what happens is people like that, when they think of farming, they think of big factory farms. They think of these giant corporations that own these massive farms, like a lot of the meat industry is, and a lot of the grain industry is now. And yeah, that's a problem. I agree. The way that they behave is ridiculous, most of them, and the way they treat their animals is abhorrent. However, a localized small-time farmer or a farming family, they don't do that. by and large. They
No.
they take great care of their cattle and of their animals and things to the point where they risk their lives for them. So I just think that that's the problem with people who grew up in a city and they see they see all the meat packaged at the store and the butchers and the big factory, and they think that's how it's all done, and it's not.
Yeah.
Most actual farmers are some of the most conservationist people you'll
Oh,
ever
they
meet.
are. Yeah. And hunters certainly are. You're absolutely right. I mean, when I was most of my hunting I did when I was younger, but I mean, you go through, you're constantly picking garbage up that other people thrown down, put in your pack. We cut game trails. You do all kind of stuff. You're constantly managing the forest,
I'm
and
bored now. Put up an article.
oh, we should. Yeah. But I mean, it's a fair point all around when it comes down to it. But I haven't really been involved with animals since I was younger. When I was a kid, guys, is when my family stuff. I've had a dog, but I haven't really been involved with that since I was little. But I'm glad I had the experience. However, and Chiron grew up on a farm too. I'm very, very happy that I had that kind of experience. I learned a lot, and my grandmother. And my grandfather died when I was pretty young, which was, unfortunate. But my grandmother is one of the greatest educators I've ever had in my life. She
Yep.
taught me about so many useful things. I mean, I have other aunties and other grandmothers, and my mother, for instance. They didn't teach me shit. They sat and watched soap operas or what have you. My grandmother educated me about all kinds of things, and I appreciate the hell out of her. And
Yep.
It was because she was that old school person, born at the turn of the 20th century, and they did everything themselves. When they went to the store, it was to pick up essentials like lard or salt or things like this, right? They
Hmm.
did everything themselves, and I grew up in that environment, and I learned a lot, and I'm very happy I did. So. Anyway, that was an interesting interlude. And Booster had a
No,
That's
lot
all
to
right,
offer.
Booster. It's all right, Booster. We know you hate animals. It's fine.
I don't hate animals. I love eating them.
Oh, I see. It's true. It's true.
Booster,
Uh,
could you let me ask you a serious question. Do you think
Okay.
you could kill and eat an animal yourself? You don't think you could do it? You don't have the stomach for it?
I know I can't because I've been
No.
hunting and I couldn't do it.
oh,
Oh,
oh, that's
he's a
too bad.
sweet boy. What a sweet boy.
Yeah, I've killed lots of stuff, Booster.
Mm. I just couldn't do it. I've got nothing morally against it. Other people hunting. I just know I personally just couldn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of people like that. I would say a lot of people I know that are very pro animal are like that. It's not so much that they're against the principles of it. It's just they personally couldn't bring themselves to do it.
Yeah,
y-
yeah,
It's not easy taking a life. You get used to it,
you
but
do.
it's not
yeah,
easy.
yeah.
Yeah, but what made me cringe, meaning felt uncomfortable more than anything, was missing
I
the
can
shot.
Oh yeah,
Well, I don't mean missing completely. I mean hitting the animal but not dropping it quickly.
yeah.
That bugged
Also, they
me.
just run off and
Yeah, well, you always
It
have to
dies
track them a
slow.
little bit, but I mean,
yeah.
yeah, no, that's it. You have to go find them, and you got to make sure you find them too, even if it takes hours sometimes. And it's that made me cringe. So I
Yeah,
Yeah.
understand the compassion of it. I do. But Therefore I practiced and tried to make sure that I always hit my target exactly. And when I got a little older, when we went hunting, I prefer to go bow hunting anyway. I don't know if any of you guys in the chat have ever cleaned an animal, but when you use a gun and you're going and you're cleaning and separating out of the meat and put in your packets, you're gonna freeze most of it, right? Wherever the bullet hit, that damage, you got to cut that meat out, right? So it's kind of
yeah.
wasted. And I started using a bow because a bow with a nice broadhead, the damage is very minimal, and that will drop that deer just as I think even better than a gun, really, because the arrow will usually stay in there, whereas a bullet often just will pass right through, right?
Mm.
So I did a lot of that, and I preferred that, but I practiced really hard to make sure that when I took that shot, it dropped that deer within 100 meters, right?
Hmm.
So, Anyway, I don't know how we got in this conversation, but
I blame Booster. It was definitely his fault.
yeah.
Definitely Booster.
It is a very American conversation, though, isn't it? I mean, there's plenty of hunters around the world, but in America, it's an institution, right?
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Some parts, it's still a way of life.
It is, and it's an essential way of life. Anyway, let's move on. We do have things to talk about today. Unfortunately, my very first story for today is a sad one, but I don't know how sad it is. It's a celebration, really. Go ahead, Booster.
All right, Superman director Richard Donner passes away at 91.
Now,
91, that's a good old age.
good old
91.
age, dude. And of course, if you don't know who Richard Donner is,
You should.
you should. Of course, he gave us this, which is
Look at
still
that.
the best Superman.
Look at that, just the perfect physical features. Look at that. Jeez. Jeez.
Good music
And
too.
can someone give us
Booster.
a...
Oh, I love that song. I have that on my playlist.
Yeah,
That's on there.
it is. It's one of the good soundtracks. It's perfectly fitting. Was that who created that soundtrack?
Isn't that old Star Wars? Fuck.
Yeah.
Is it William?
Yeah,
I forgot his name.
Yeah, well,
William,
that guy's a
yeah.
genius. He's really, really good.
Genuinely.
No, Donner is amazing, guys. Yeah, of course he is. He did a really good job, and he did a bunch of things that I didn't even know. I was reading this article. The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which I liked when I was a kid. Wild Wild West, I loved that show. I
Yep.
absolutely adored it. He did stuff on the Twilight Zone, which I didn't know, and Gilligan's Island as well, huh? I didn't know that.
I know he directed The Omen. Ooh. That original Omen movie, that thing gave people nightmares for years. That was brutal.
Yeah, well, I knew about that one, but the other ones, the TV stuff, I didn't know. And of course, The Omen is a big one. He also did The Goonies, Scrooge, Lethal Weapon films, of course. He's a big time director, and he was really good at what he did. And thank you very much, Mr. Donner. I mean, that's really what it comes down to it. And thank you very much for an incredibly long life and all the great stuff you did, and safe journey.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's a legend. The Christopher Reeve Superman is the best version of Superman Cavill could have been.
Yeah,
but
could have
you
been.
know,
Very close. You
Yeah.
saw that edit I shared, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they basically they fixed the coloration on the suit and gave him a what's that called, the little
Spit
curly Q hair.
Spit girl.
And
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
yeah, he looks. I mean, he's Superman.
Spitting image of Christopher
Perfect.
Reeve in that photo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Perfect.
he was a great choice. They just didn't handle it well, and that's what you get for hiring
Not
a
well.
frickin' German to do American shit. I mean, that's what you get. They're a bunch of dour, humorless bastards, man. Of course they can't do Superman. Fuck's sake, man.
Not well written, not well directed. He doesn't have the vision for Superman.
No, God, no, not at all. And if you guys are upset with me for disparaging Germans, get in line.
Germans.
As a German myself, no, they kind of deserve it.
Yeah.
You don't get to start well, the second one they didn't really start, but technically they did. You don't get to technically start 2 world wars and not get shit on for it.
Well, they didn't really start the first one.
Oh my god, I'm forgetting names today. Just the greatest comedian of all time. And he has a little nasally laugh. He's on SNL. Someone help me out.
Norm Macdonald?
Please. Norm Macdonald.
Yeah.
He's not German, he's American.
No, I was just saying that he made jokes around lines of, those are the guys we really need to look out for. They just started wars with the world. Twice.
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
Twice in like 35 years.
Poor Germans. But anyway, thank you very much, Mr. Donner. I just wanted to cover that first. I think it's important for us to remember those who are part of building our life. And he's certainly one of them. I mean, Jesus, look at his movie list, guys. And not just these great ones. Go look at his movie list. It's impressive. He's absolutely part of my youth and my growing up. And Superman is one of the very, very few films that I've actually watched more than once. Because I don't usually watch movies more than once. But I saw that at least maybe even 3 times. I think it was 3 times in the movie theater, right? And that is rare for me. And it was all like little 50-cent matinees, right? But can you guys imagine that movies used to be 50 cents
Yeah. Yes, actually, I
in
remember.
my
Well, I remember
lifetime?
when they were $1. There was a dollar theater around here that was only played typically older movies, but it was only $1. Go there for $1 and
Yeah.
you can watch movies all day for $10 if you wanted to. If you wanted to spend all day there, and it was great. It unfortunately doesn't exist anymore, but while it lasted, it was great.
Yeah. Well, did those are matinees, of course. The features were more like $3 or something, like 250 or something like that, whatever it was. But do you guys what are you guys paying for a movie right now? What's your standard ticket price now?
Well, you see, Chester, I'm cheap, so I don't usually pay the standard price, but I think it's about $12 a ticket.
Wow, that's still cheaper
Yeah,
than
Yeah,
Japan. Japan's
12
ridiculous.
bucks for me, but 12 bucks NZ for me.
So what's that, like $7?
About
7 or
that,
8. Yeah,
about
yeah.
7 or 8 odd
Yeah,
US bucks.
that's not
That's
out.
usually what I pay.
That's not so bad. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
usually what I pay is about 7 or 8 because I either go early or I go on cheap days. The theaters around here on Tuesday nights, Tuesday evenings, you can get a movie for $5. I think it is 5 or 6.
Well, Japan's
And
20.
whew,
Ooh,
Yeah. Yeah.
well, that's taking the piss.
It is, but it's Japan. The Japanese thinking is very well. Asian thinking is very different than Western thinking, obviously. And in the West, if you think about all the theater rounds and stuff of the past, they had a space for the richer people and the common people on the floor, and they were dirt cheap tickets, right, to get in. And we have this idea that theater is for everybody. You just have the cheap seats and you have the balcony, right? Here in Japan, anything that's entertainment or luxury concerned is for the wealthy. And they've always had that concept here. And it's not just Japan, Asia in general. And it's just translated into the modern time. So anything that would be considered entertainment or some luxury item is ridiculously expensive. However, on the other side, the normal day-to-day things in Japan are super cheap. So I don't know.
like manga.
Oh, manga or just, just lettuce, bread,
Yeah.
milk, that kind of stuff is really cheap. But steak, bring your wallet, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's getting that way here now too because they're at war with the meat industry, but that's a topic for another time.
Yeah, well, you know what I do occasionally? I don't do it every year, but nearby, or just over the mountain, as there's a valley that goes. You have to go through this valley, and then you go into this. Well, they call it a city, but it's really a town. But there's a little small cow farm right there. They only have about, I don't know, 100 head, maybe. It's not much. It's very small. But occasionally, I have gone over there and bought a quarter cow, and I can cut that up, and I can make that last 6 months. Good 5 6
Yeah.
months. So I've done that on occasion. I haven't done it in a few years. Maybe I should do it again. I am planning on kind of installing a big barbecue here, so maybe I'll do it then. Anyway, thank you very much, Mr. Donner. Let's move on to our news. So this is an interesting twist.
What a twist!
I hate reporting on rumors, you know that.
Oh, whatever. Everything is rumor, dude.
Let's go. Rumor. Director. What is that name? That's not a. Get that out of here. That's not a
Muschietti.
name.
That's
Muschietti.
fake Italian. That's what that is.
That's- Ugh. Andy Muschietti. Machete. Hints that the Flash will see Barry Allen and Batman depicted as idiots while Supergirl saves the world.
Mm.
Is that right?
Now, this is being reported by many places. When I kind of go and collect the news, I will go to many places and look. I usually, if I can find it on Abounding, I will use the Bounding article instead, because the format's just better for our presentation. But this actually is being reported by many people, and some of the other
That
articles had better information
not
actually.
That is not good evidence that it's true if it's
No,
been
it's
reported by
not.
many places.
But
Because that is something called journalism. It's very common for a journalist to just find out that someone else has reported on something and then just churn out an article that's similar.
right, but some of the other articles had more evidence actual tweets and stuff like that. Where this one has less, I think, if I remember going through it. Yeah, yeah. But we do know there's some craziness going on with this. But let's look at the idea of if it is true, that. You're going to take your Flash, which a lot of people are wondering why, because he's done bad things in public, but I guess he has the gay card. But his gay card isn't enough to offset his man card, it would seem. And I do believe that this Batman we're talking about, is this the Ben Affleck or is this the Michael Keaton Batman that we're talking about?
No clue.
And of course, the Supergirl we're talking about is this one, which we saw that costume and how bad it was, which is a thing that's on the Batwoman or Batgirl, whatever it's called, which is a horribly, poorly written show. But they seem to be crossing over, so we're not getting the blonde, blue-eyed Supergirl. We're getting whatever that is. But
Dumpy looking thing with the big shoulders.
yeah, this I don't know. I don't understand what this all is. But this article goes into the disrespecting of heroes and stuff like that, as you would expect. However, and I'm not sure. Maybe it is. Yeah. See, they're saying it's Michael Keaton and with Ezra Miller in this movie. Now, what they're proposing in this is that the Flash and Batman are bumbling and they're foolish and they're silly men, and Supergirl has to come in and save the entire planet. Which we've seen them do this many times, so not shocking. However, why? My question is, why do we consistently see movies that are titled one thing, but yet the character's not the main focus of that movie? Currently, there's many examples. You all know this, but one of the current ones is Loki. Loki is shit all in his own series. I mean, the shit, they killed him. Well, I know they'll bring him back, I'm sure. But Loki is not the important part of his story. It's female Loki, right? And they do this all the time. Ant-Man and the Wasp, a perfect example. They should just call it the Wasp. But I don't know. What do you guys think about them just, disrespecting Flash and Batman just so they can push a female? I mean, is that
Well,
they keep doing it?
it's like I said. I think I said it last night. Even the way to do this, which for some reason Hollywood has conveniently forgotten, quote unquote, is if you want to use an established brand or character to prop up something else, or because it has the market, it can get the market share, market value that you're after from your movie. There's a way to do that, and the way to do that is to respect that character in the movie. And then if you want to introduce somebody else to do whatever, okay, but as long as that character is respected in the first place. So Marvel did this correctly for the most part throughout most of the MCU. They did it absolutely right. When they would introduce a new character, they would get just enough shine to get you interested. A great example is Civil War and Black Panther. I think Black Panther was great in that movie. And it made you want to, see a little bit more of him. Like, okay, let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
And that's how you do that. You let the other guy, what should be the main character, the guy whose name's on the damn tin, carry most of the brunt of the dramatics and the what have you of the movie, and then let the other guy just get his shine in when it's time to get his shine in. Yeah. They could even have Supergirl be the one who's the hero at the end, and I think most comic book fans would be cool with that because nobody dislikes Supergirl. She's awesome. But the way that they're going to probably do this is exactly what this says, is they're going to make Barry Allen and fucking Batman look like idiots so that she can shine.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't even think it's necessarily always malice, right? It's not always nefarious, the reason they're doing this. I think they're just this incompetent. I think there is so much incompetence that they're hiding with political bullshit because they don't know how to write the story anymore.
Yeah.
They just don't. They even admitted it. They admitted it. Warner Brothers admitted it with Superman. They said nobody Hope wouldn't sell right now. What? What? Basically all you just said to me is we don't know how to make that movie. We're stupid. We're dumb people. We're not Mr. Donner. We don't know how to make Superman.
Yeah.
So I don't even think it's necessarily always malicious. I think it's just a ton of incompetence, and they're using the screen of PC bullshit to hide that incompetence.
Well,
They're using that as a shield a lot of times because even though a lot of these people don't actually believe this shit, it's
no, of course
performative.
not. It's true, and I think there might be some truth to that. But there's also the agenda clearly in your
Yeah.
face, and it's ironic, I would say, that you can't make a female hero without tearing men down. This is very telling of your actual mentality, right?
Yeah.
And you can't make a female who's not mean, nasty, and very male-like in their attitude. Once again, we have many female heroines throughout media and history that were very feminine but yet heroic at the same time. But
Yep.
they're incapable of doing it, whether it be a full dose of incompetence or just their misthink. Making the Flash an idiot, particularly this one, is not hard. But
Yes.
Batman, however,
Fucking
that's
Michael
Batman.
Keaton.
yeah,
Michael Keaton's Batman.
yeah.
Yeah.
You better not
Yeah.
fucking disrespect Michael Keaton's Batman.
Yeah. But they're gonna.
They
Oh,
gonna.
don't you
Yeah.
fret, my pet. I think it's a mixture of both, right? I think it's their zealotry for pushing this nonsense for some of them. For the others, it's just incompetence, and they, like I said, they just hide behind other people's zeal because they're cowards, and because they don't have the ability to make these things. Because by and large, a lot of the legendary directors and producers and whatever, they're old or dead. Like they're just not in the game anymore.
Yeah.
And the newer ones, the new crop that they propped up, most of them fell apart within 5 or 6 years or 10 years because they were either pedophiles or just pieces of human shit that no one wants to work with, or they're J.J. Abrams, and I don't think I need to say more.
Yeah.
And I think what's going to happen, I think you're already starting to see it. There will be a correction in that regard, in the competency, because we've all seen it. The visuals and the audio, by and large, all of the accoutrement to movies has gotten amazing over the last 15 years. Like, just spectacular by and large. The way that they're shot and the cinematography of a lot of them. Like, a great example is what's his name? The Zack Snyder. Great example is Zack Snyder. His visuals are almost always great, right? They're almost always spectacular. But the rest of it's crap. It's horrible. And the reason it isn't so much because he's incapable of making that. Well, I think he is. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that's not why. It's because he doesn't have anybody above him telling him this is stupid.
Yeah, you
Fix
always
it.
need
Just
that.
has shit
You do.
vision.
Yeah.
He's obsessed with the making colors and shit very dour.
Yeah.
Like, let's say with the Watchmen movie, right? He can capture a panel perfectly. That movie was almost shot for shot for the panel of the comic in some of those scenes.
It was well done.
Yeah.
It's very well done with the panels. But then he's got to make like this weird CG blood and these weird colors choices.
Yeah, he likes dour. You're absolutely right on that. Yeah.
And it just doesn't match.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's true. But I don't know. It's just more nonsense. I had no intention of watching this movie anyway, so don't really care.
No. And let's be honest, I don't want these people. They don't deserve the win of making a good Superman movie. The only person in Hollywood that I want to see win in that regard is Henry Cavill, because he's seemingly a very good man, just genuinely good man, and he's perfect for it in every respect. So if he's not involved in it, they don't get that. I don't want them to have that win. I don't want the people behind the scenes who run these movie franchises to have that win. I would rather they just never make another Superman movie again than have the win. Than these filth get the win of, hey, look, we made a great Superman movie, so everybody starts praising them. That's how much I despise these people.
Yeah, well, no, I think we're all getting there. Even the optimist that I am. However, last night, because we're coming to summer break here, so I was grading essays, end of session essays, right? Last night before I went to bed, and just to have in the background here on this big, beautiful new TV I got, I put on a Western. I watched Pale Rider again. And it reminds me because simple, you can't get much more of a simple story than that, right? Young
Yeah.
girl prays for help. A mysterious man shows up as if he were an avenging angel, and he saves this little miner town from the greed of a greedier miner. It's very simple. But damn, dude, that movie just kicks ass. It holds up so well. And that movie came out when I was quite young. But it just kind of reinforces the fact that storytelling has been lost in the greater scheme of things. Such a simple little movie, but it did exactly what it was supposed to do, and it did it really really well.
Yeah.
So I was really, I just was kind of thinking, I like to have a sound in the background, and I ended up not doing as many essays as I should have done, to be honest with you. But Pale Rider, man, Clint Eastwood, dude. Anyway, moving on, moving on. Now, this one I thought was kind of an interesting article. Go ahead, Booster.
Sailor Moon wishes good luck to Olympic athletes, sparking backlash among fans afraid games will turn into COVID-19 super spreader event.
All right. Well, there's
I am
several.
so fucking sick of hearing about COVID.
Yeah, aren't we all? But there's several little things in this article I wanted to cover because I think it's interesting. First of all, clearly, Japanese government is not doing a good job of informing the world of what this Olympics is going to be, because the government has made it very clear that there will be no attendees at all. All these events will be just the athletes. There'll be nobody and the people necessary to make the event happen. There will be no people in the stands at all, anywhere, right? So this is a literally televised only event, right? So that's one. Clearly, these article writers and these people with opinions don't know that, and I could just say the ignorance of knee-jerk reaction, but I think a little bit of the Japanese government just not informing the world well enough, which is not surprising. However, some of the other things that have come out here, if you read through, and they've put in a lot of little Japanese things here, and they've really what they've taken out of it and translated is not really what the point of them is. I thought as I was reading through it, and just kind of going through here. One of the things that's also not well understood, the Japanese really, really don't want these games to happen at all. The Japanese people have been pushing hard to cancel this Olympics because the Japanese people are very sheepish people. That's just what they are. They're easy to control, which is why there's no violence here. Is why this is one of the safest and lowest crime rate places on the planet, because everyone's happy to be a sheep, and the government doesn't really take advantage of that, because what the government here does, which is kind of interesting, the Japanese people in general are not interested in politics at all, and they simply do what they're told easily. And therefore, what the government does is they try to be as quiet as possible, because they don't want to wake anybody up, that and therefore starts a conversation or starts asking, what are you doing? So the government doesn't tread on the people at all. They don't do anything to rile the people at all. So it's usually very much a status quo, and things work very smoothly. It seems like a negative environment that it wouldn't work, but it just does, right? And I think it has something to do with culture and racial dynamics as well. However, this has riled the Japanese up more than anything I've seen since I've been interacting, 25 years of interaction here in Japan. They really, really are worried because they bought hook, line, and sinker into the whole COVID thing, right? You literally have everybody in the population wearing masks. It's like the only person that doesn't have a mask on is me, right? And when I go
Mm.
into certain places, they ask on the if they ask on the window or something, please wear a mask. I do, right? But in general, I don't wear a mask at all because there's no need for it. I mean, the mask are kind of the stupidest thing that have come out of this whole thing. Other things are more useful. However, um, and they bought into it hook, line, and sinker, and they are really terrified of this whole thing. And therefore, for them, the Olympics is a threat. Foreigners coming into their country, possibly bringing COVID, they're serious about this shit. And that's the big thing I took from this article, because if you read a lot of this stuff, it's really people's opinion that is, against the Olympics. It's not so much about people in the stands, actually. And it's cute that the Olympic Committee here in Japan used Sailor Moon to do their thing, which, of course, you're going to see plenty of the anime characters will come up in it. It's Japan, for fuck's sake, right? But I don't know. What do you guys think about that situation? We know that the whole COVID thing is not really what it is. It's something else. However, the Japanese people are truly up in arms regarding this Olympics happening at all. What do you guys think about that?
It's not surprising, to be honest. But yeah, no, COVID is a massively overblown deal. In all honesty, I get so tired of hearing people say follow the science. If we were following the science, we would be letting it spread. That'd be the best way to get rid of it. But hey, somebody might die.
Kill the weak.
It's just the truth. That's how you get rid of viruses. It's how we've always done it. You have to let people get it. You just have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll mutate faster, and then it'll become what we have now, which is the Delta variant, which is far more infectious but far less deadly. So now people are just stuck with it because we didn't kill it with antibodies. And the vaccines don't create antibodies. They quite, from what I understand, change DNA code so that it just destroys the virus or makes it so you don't necessarily get too badly infected from it or something to that effect. But regardless, it's not a typical vaccine. At least I think most of them aren't. Where it gives your body just makes antibodies because you basically trick your immune system into doing so.
Yeah. That's how
it works.
I haven't dealt with this shit for over a year, bro. It's been awesome.
Yeah, New Zealand's been clean of it forever.
Yeah.
The solution has always been what we've always done is you quarantine the sick and the vulnerable, you take them out of society, keep them as safe as possible, and let healthy, normal functioning adults live their lives, and children, especially since it doesn't do anything to children hardly, live their lives, because that is how you burn out a virus. You have to burn it out. If you try to slow burn it, it has a better chance of mutation, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
All of the measures that the countries of the world have taken have been the exact wrong thing to do. This isn't just me saying this because of conspiracies or whatever. Look at literally all the data for the last, 500 years on how to deal with these things. Look at what George Washington did with the smallpox during the Revolution. You know what he did? He made sure his soldiers weren't introduced to it so that they could be naturally inoculated by it.
Yeah.
Some of them probably died from it. I guarantee you they did. But that was the best course of action because there's no other way to stop it. You cannot stop an aerosol virus. If you could, we would have stopped the cold and the flu a long time ago.
That's true. Yeah. Well, the interesting thing in regards to that, and I'll cover that in a second, Roger. But in regards to the virus and its origin in China. Now, you guys probably have no clue what's going on in China, which I don't blame you because, China's lockdown place. However, the Chinese, of course, have been saying they beat Corona. Corona's dead. We're much better than the West because you understand that the CCP is always, constantly, even though you don't hear it, to their people, constantly comparing themselves to the West and how decadent and evil and horrible we are and how great they are. They do this on a daily basis. The propaganda is persistent, right? Now, the Chinese people aren't that stupid. Well, some of them are, but they know. Right? But this is a constant thing. Now, the reality is there's pockets of COVID that are popping up all over China all the time, constantly. There are absolute mass, panic mobs trying to get vaccines, which aren't even as good. They're nowhere near as effective as what we have in the West. But to the point that people are being trampled to death on a daily basis. This is happening in China right now. You also have a situation where they're recommending that 90% effective cure against COVID-19 in China right now. Basically, honeysuckle cough medicine. which will not deal with COVID whatsoever, but 90% effective. And also wash your hands in hot water. And you know why? Because they found that when they put the virus in hot boiling water, it died. Yeah, yeah. I'll let you work that out in your brain how stupid that is. All right.
People
But
washing their fucking hands anyway, you grotty cunts.
well, but they are grody cunts. And here's a very important point to go along with what Booster just said. The Chinese people are extremely primitive. Now I know you might not believe that because they keep telling you, oh, China's the future and China is coming up. There's great power coming up, and you constantly see me laugh at that every time. Maybe you wonder why I laughed at that because I lived in China and I understand that anywhere you go in China, you know one thing you never find? Soap. It's nowhere. You go to a hospital and you go into the bathroom in the hospital. There's no soap. You realize you don't have to go to university to become a doctor in China, right? You can just, they don't even do trade school because they don't. They do have real doctors, but most of the doctors that you as a Chinese person who interact with will be traditional herbalists, right? China is very primitive. I know there's a lot of things that are showing them to be a modern country, but they're truly not. They're ignorant at a level that is shocking. You can go to places like Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, all these places I've been to, and they're a third world country for sure. They're trying. They're trying to catch up. But if you go to, say, Thailand, for instance, which is a very poor, a very third world country, and you go to a hospital, you know what you get? Actual doctors, actual medicine.
Yeah.
So how is it that all of these, true third world countries have real medicine, real science and they're trying hard to bring themselves up into the first world? How is it they have this, but China doesn't? China is a filthy, old-fashioned place, and the reason it's like this and it's not upgrading, even though they're throwing billions of fake dollars into it, is because of the arrogance of the Chinese. They believe their medicine is better, their theology is better, their philosophy is better. Everything they do is better than the rest of the world because the rest of the world are just a bunch of dumb dogs. That's how they look at things, and this is what is killing them. There's a lot of pushback against the CCP in China all the time, and this is another thing about CCP people don't seem to understand. It's not like they walk around like a Gestapo beating people in the head all the time. They're certainly doing that kind of thing, but they do it more subtly because the one thing that's true about the CCP is they are absolutely terrified that the people will get upset about something. They're constantly trying to keep a harmonious status quo. They're constantly trying to do it because they are terrified of the Chinese people getting upset. Because another thing about the Chinese you might not understand is violence. They are the most violent people in Asia by far. By far. And you will get just random violence in the most horrific and disgusting way out of nowhere. It just happens, right? And they're constantly trying to keep everyone calm and sedated so that they can control things because they're terrified of it. And so China is an absolute hot mess. And every time I get some idiot saying, "Well, China's doing a good job. China's the future," it just makes me laugh because China
No.
has nothing. China is absolute shit. And I hope that one day China will become something better.
I think it will. I think the CCP will collapse. I don't think people give the CCP way too much credit. They're one of the most inept governments on the planet, and it's not even close, really. If it wasn't for Western money pumping into China at a constant basis, they would have collapsed probably already.
Yeah.
We've been propping them up like we propped up the Soviet Union, and unfortunately for us, our elites betrayed the country and the people here, and the people consistently try to fix it with democracy, which is hilarious to me. But whatever. The where I live, the Midwest, the Rust Belt, used to be the production capital of basically the whole world, and it's not anymore because it was pretty much all sent to China.
That's true, which is a mistake.
Which was a massive mistake, and it's one we learned very quickly when they literally threatened to hold up medicine So in the middle of this pandemic that they planned and unleashed, and well, they may not have planned it, but they definitely unleashed it. So they're not our friend, they're not our ally, they're no one's friend or ally. But I think the CCP will fall. I think China has a long history, the longest, in fact, and they've been in places where they've been very powerful before, but power and this form of authoritarianism do not last together very long. The Roman Empire lasted a very long time, but it did so because it was so vast that for most of the empire, they were basically just free citizens, or at least the non-slave class. And by and large, the government not only didn't interfere in their lives, they couldn't. They didn't have the ability to. Whereas in China, it's complete totalitarianism. Totalitarianism just simply doesn't work. And it never has. It didn't work in the Soviet Union. It doesn't really work in China. And it won't work here either. They're going to try. Of course they're going to try. Because
you can't micromanage
people
to that level is the reason. Yeah.
Exactly. The one chaotic variable in all of the world is the human being. And it just doesn't work forever. It'll work for a while, sure. But it won't work forever. And I personally think I will live to see the fall of the CCP. I don't think they'll exist in 50 years.
It's certainly possible.
I really don't. Yeah. And the reason I don't think that is because they have a demographic crisis worse than basically anybody in the world. They are an old country, very old. Their one-child policy killed them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this is another thing I can give. There's a lot of information I give on China, actually. Captain Canada, absolutely agree. Omron, as far as architecture and the building quality of stuff like that. This is an interesting thing about China you might not know. The Chinese people, like I said, are not unaware. They know that made in China means crap. They know this. Yeah. This is why they're constantly buying Japanese goods. They adore them, right? The Japanese are always very worrisome, but they're worrywarts anyway. It's the Japanese. But a stronger, wealthier China is actually good for Japan, right? Because they spend their money here. And they also they don't. One of the things in China that you might be surprised if you go watch a commercial or you go into their malls or you go into their shopping centers, what you're going to see is a lot of pictures of Western people. Now that you would be shocked by that, right? It's China, but what it is the Chinese people are well aware that made in China is bad. So if they have a foreigner on a poster, well, that means it must be a good product. So they use foreign faces to sell stuff in China, even though it's probably made in China anyway, simply because of the absolute desperate desire by the Chinese people to have functioning things. They all see a foreign thing as a better quality thing. So if you get something from Europe or America or Japan, it's much more preferable thing, and it's also a status item. If you have a Japanese-made thing opposed to a Chinese-made thing, you have this aspect, this dynamic that is happening in China all the time, constantly, right? Another issue you have is, the totalitarian aspect. No one is motivated for you in that setting. No one is going to work hard or be ambitious because there's nothing to work toward, right? And this is another thing on top of the layer of just the general Chinese attitude. And this is why buildings that were built 5 years ago are already falling down all over the place. Because they went to that boom, and Chinese government, the CCP, wanted to show that look how great we're doing. So they literally built cities all over China and then put nobody in them. How much concrete and how much of this building material, that building material did they burn, completely waste? And understand there's a huge problem with concrete going on in the world right now. It's a very interesting little troublesome situation that most people aren't aware of. You might want to look into it. It's quite fascinating. But China is an absolute definition of hot mess. Is what it is. Now I know it has nothing to do with this article. I'm talking about Japan, but
oh, you go off topic. Say it isn't fucking so.
Needless to say, demographics are destiny, and China's demographics are probably the worst in the modern world. They are not going to be the threat people think they will, as long as the West stops propping them up.
Yeah, and I think that's coming too. They've been pouring in billions of dollars since Nixon, dude. But anyway, let's move on from this. But the thing is, this Olympics is very unpopular in Japan, even though they spent ridiculous amounts of money. They're happy to burn it because they don't want this. But it is going forward, but it is completely televised.
If
There
they
will be
cancel
no.
it, they make Akira come true. We don't need that shit.
That's fair. That's fair enough. We don't need that shit. That's true. Let's move on to happier news. Ooh.
Happy times.
Ooh! John Wick 4 is now filming. That is
That's
good.
right.
Next article.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
What else is there to say? Awesome.
right.
I'm glad.
Yep.
Yeah,
Let's do
John
it.
Wick 3 was a little silly. Yeah,
John
the
Wick
ending
3
was dumb.
Yeah, the ending was very, very, very Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
Let's put it
Very
that way.
dumb.
And
I like it,
started
though.
introducing a bit of CG, and you know the CG in these movies don't look good, but the action still kicks ass.
Yeah, it is. I liked Haley Berry in it too, man. She was
Yeah.
cool. She was a cool
see, hey,
character.
guess what? You can make a badass, still pretty sexy bitch in movies today. You just have to, not write like you're a political science major trying to score woke points. And guess what? You can pull it off because she was fantastic from beginning. From her whole time in that movie was great.
And she demonstrated how a woman in combat using two dogs can be very effective.
Yes.
Yeah, it was very cool. I loved
She was
her
cool.
addition to it. And I was worried too. I was like, oh, Jesus. But nah, and you could tell she worked hard. She obviously went to those Hollywood gun practicing drills. She must did thousands of them because she's very clean, and we know that she's not that kind of person. Keanu is. Keanu is constantly a gun person. He loves guns. I was very happy with Haley Berry, and I'm looking forward to the fourth one.
Yeah.
I have no trouble with any of them.
I've seen her run a gun course. You can fucking shoot.
She can. Yeah. And the cool thing was watching Keanu run a gun course because there's these sexy chicks all around him with their boobs out that are desperate for Keanu to recognize them. It's hilarious, dude. And he just
guns.
But this series is great fun. I have nothing to
Boobs out of
complain about
here.
any of them.
Chester, let's appreciate a beautiful American patriotic woman break real quick. Look in the chat and just enjoy.
Okay, I'm going to look in the chat. I'm looking in the chat. Hold on a second. Is this where that's not where my chat is.
Beautiful babe.
There it is. Oh yeah, America.
Yeah.
America, indeed.
That's
That
good.
is pretty girl. Yeah, that's pretty girl. You did a good job. I'm usually suspect in your guys' choices, but that'll work.
You are literally an island unto yourself in that regard, my friend.
But no, she's a pretty girl. That's a pretty girl. I wouldn't mind helping her clean up because she needs cleaning. A good bath.
Yeah, she's a little dirty. Yeah.
Yeah, she needs washing for damn sure.
Don't wash her.
Anyway, so just a little bit of happy news. Awesome. Really enjoy this series. And Keanu's he's a great guy. So awesome. Here we go. Moving on. We're going from. We have some. I put a lot of fun stuff in here today, but we do have to deal with something a little more serious. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Black Widow and Taskmaster face off in 4 new TV spots. We still
Well,
are we still on about this? Are they?
Well, no.
Are they still threatening us with this movie?
They are, and I wanted to talk about something a little different, but I'll cover the general concept first. They are threatening us with this movie. This week, the media coverage, the announcement coverage, and the press pumping of this movie has been an absolute train wreck. They have pushed the feminism thing hard, really hard. This is not a movie for you men. Don't you go anywhere near it. They don't want you there. This is women's time to be sexy without you looking at them because damn your eyes. That's the media press we've seen this past week and a half, 2 weeks. But I mean, it's insanity. They clearly don't want to make any money at all. Okay, so fine. You won't. But that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is these 4 spots, which I don't even need to look at. I'll show one, I guess.
Now, a special look at
Stop with the volume. We don't need to hear your words. Okay.
I love it. I love when a trailer just immediately starts with a single piano note. That's always how you know you're gonna watch a very
That's right.
generic movie.
That's right. But what I wanted to talk about however, if you see her fighting Taskmaster here, is there's been a lot of rumor, once again rumor, but a lot of rumor that Taskmaster is Hawkeye.
Huh.
Jeremy Renner, meaning.
Yes,
And
I know that.
yeah, but I'm just saying that because they always hinting at something had happened between them in the past, right? I don't know where this rumor is coming from. It is just a rumor. It could be no truth to it whatsoever. But what do you guys think about the idea of making Hawkeye Taskmaster and how outrageously disrespectful that is to both characters, by the way?
It's not a good
I
idea
think
for Taskmaster.
I
Kind of
think
like
Taskmaster.
you're. Hmm?
I think Taskmaster is a victim of his own name. His name
Just
is
gotta
not
claim
something
it.
they're going to take seriously, so they're going to just do whatever they want with him.
It's like Sportsmaster, you know,
Yeah.
fucking Sportsmaster in the DCU. It's got such a lame fucking name, but shit, he was so cool in Young Justice and Stargirl.
No,
His
he's a
name's fucking Sportsmaster.
fantastic character. Taskmaster is,
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but they just won't take him. They don't take the character seriously because the name just isn't marketable. It just
The- In the
Just
context
is.
of the MCU, Jeremy Renner being Taskmaster is a really cool idea, but in the context of comics and everything, yeah, they'll just be shitting all over Taskmaster's legacy.
Absolutely, yeah. Because Taskmaster is probably the best hand-to-hand combatant in the MCU. I
Absolutely.
understand that Captain America is supposed
Not
to
even
have that
close.
mantle, but I think we've seen very clearly over the years, over the decades, that it's probably Taskmaster, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a very cool guy. It's a very good villain, and he's been well handled in the MCU quite a bit. Not in the MCU, excuse me, in the comic books. But and I also think it's interesting. They are passing this over to Yelena, Yavona, whatever her name is, and this happened in the comic books too. This isn't like it's not canon. But the girl they've chosen to replace Black Widow
This
because
chick with
she's
no
too
neck.
old. Why
Yeah.
did they choose such a scrunched up, awkward looking, ugly girl? Well,
You're
because
not allowed to have beauty anymore, Chester.
yeah, but see,
No
that's
beauty
one of
allowed.
the tools of them, and they displayed that they're bitching about Iron Man 2 now. But the thing is, that's one of her tools. She had Tony wrapped around her little finger, which was the point. I mean, that's the
Yep.
tools, the sexuality of these Russian assassins. The reason why they're female in the first place is for them to use the sexuality to their advantage. But this girl, I mean, it's sad. I mean, I'm glad she gets work, but she is very unattractive, and she's so scrunched up. Her body is just it's unfinished. I don't love the Uggos, Eric. You shut up. Eric's being mean to me. But damn, dude. And of course, this is supposed to be ultra feminist. That's what they've told us. It's
Oh,
super feminist. I don't think
she
it will
just
be, but
calling me, so I have to go hang out with them now.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Bye.
Later, nerds.
later. But anyway, I don't know. I really hate the idea of Hawkeye being Taskmaster, dude. I hate it.
Yeah.
So whatever. Moving on. Now I thought I'd have a little bit of fun. There's a company out there, Thundero. I
Mhm.
don't know much about Zenoscope, right? Comic book company. They've been around for quite a while. I know the name. I don't think I've ever read a comic book by them, but they appreciate the female form. It seems. Do you know this company?
Never heard of him.
Well, I thought we'd take a look here today and see what they got. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Alrighty, because I do have over here. I do have the new comic thing that I usually do, but I just don't know if I have the heart for it today, dude. I just don't think I do. It's just sad, man. Anyway, let's take a look at Zenoscope today, and see what they got. So, all right, I don't know anything about these guys. I know the name. I've heard it before. I've seen some of the artists that we appreciate have worked for Zenoscope, so that's probably how I know it. But let's take a look here. We got the Grim Fairy Tales versus no Grimm Fairy Tales line, I guess. So they're kind of doing what Fable had done, and they're taking all of the fairy tales and making them sexy and action packed and things like that. That's a cool idea. That's a cool idea. This is an interesting looking fellow here. Who's he supposed to be?
Mm.
For over 200 years, the powerful stories of the Brothers Grimm have enchanted millions around the world, but there has never been an adaptation as intriguing or provocative as this. Oh, well, alrighty then. That's an interesting looking character. He's not particularly sexy like the other ones, but they do like the sexy lady. This looks like a Little Red Riding Hood. I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. And the art's not bad. Some of it's really good, and some of it's okay. But that's not bad. That's pretty good actually. Now that's Little Red Riding Hood, and she's going to see Grandma. Damn it, I like that one. Let's see
Yeah.
what else they got here. So we have this Wonderland thing, this Grim Fairy Tale thing. We have Van Helsing, and I don't know about the female Van Helsing thing. Robin Hood, once again female Robin Hood, but I understand what they're doing here. They just want to have sexy babes. Belle, Hercules, Bikini Day. I'm okay with Bikini Day. You seen anything interesting here? Gretel. Oh, okay.
It's interesting. Very interesting. Uh, like I said earlier, I think a lot of this stuff's coming to an end. A lot of this super
Z-rated.
PC woke nonsense is coming to an end because people like pretty things, and the more they push literal ugly people down our throats, the less people are going to give them attention.
Yeah, well, I mean, clearly these guys don't give a shit. Let's see here. I read some Zenoscope. Dave says better than Marvel. Okay, they're headquartered in Horsham, Pennsylvania, I think. Okay, Black Sable is good. All right. I literally just ordered a blank sketch cover from Zenoscope's Bell Beast Hunter. It looked like something fun to check out. Yeah, no, I've heard about it and I saw a little article on it, and the article wasn't interesting. But I was like, oh yeah, Zenoscope, man. Maybe I'll come over here and take a look at what they got. So they got a collectors club. Cosplayers. Ooh, cosplayers. Oh, they're cosplaying in the comic. Oh, okay, okay, okay. I don't know, but I don't mind sexy ladies. Although I'm not the biggest fan of just gratuitous things without reason. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not against it. I'm not a prude or anything like that. But I just not like, for instance, Game of Thrones. I probably mentioned this before, but Game of Thrones. There's a couple of sex scenes in that story that are essential to the story. They're very important, and you need them. But in the TV show, there was way too much sex, dude. Way too much nudity. There's no need for it. I think it distracts from what you're trying to do, especially with the level of acting we were getting in that. Because the only really bad actor in that was the actress that played the White Queen there, the little girl. But everyone else was kicking ass. I don't know. What do you think about that? Am I wrong on that?
On what part? Sorry.
The fact that the Game of Thrones just had way too much gratuitous sex in it. It just was
I never watched.
unnecessary.
I tried to watch Game of Thrones. I gave it 3 episodes, and I was bored out of my mind and shut it off and said, "Oh, this is just overrated." Cool. Because it's just boring. It wasn't interesting. It's basically just it's a fantasy soap opera, and I
Oh,
was like,
that's true.
"Oh,
I
I'm
enjoyed
good."
the first 4 seasons quite well, though. I did.
It just didn't tickle my button. Didn't do it
Fair
at
enough.
all.
Fair enough. But and I know some people disagree with that. Like, for instance, there was a series that came out. There were 2 series that came out a long time ago. One was called Rome, and one was called Spartacus. And unfortunately, the guy who was playing Spartacus did die, but the guy they got to replace him, I thought, did a pretty good job. However, if I had to choose between the Rome series and the Spartacus series, I'm going to go with the Rome one all the time. Now that had sex and stuff in it too, but the sex seemed appropriate to what was happening. Where in Spartacus, it's like any opportunity they had to have naked people rutting, they did so. It was more like a 300 slow motion, 360 view rutting show than it was an actual Spartacus show. And I'm like,
Mm.
well, okay, I guess it's just soft porn, and that's what it is. All right, fine. But that's not intriguing to me. You're not going to keep my attention with that. Whereas Rome, I watched the entire series, and I thought I loved it. I thought it was great, and it had sex stuff in it too. But it was handled. It was appropriate to what was going on. It was necessary to the story. I'm just not into gratuitous stuff, and I guess maybe the reason why I've never kind of bit on this is it seems a bit gratuitous. But
Yeah.
some people like that, so that's cool. Anyway,
Ba-ba-bow.
what I do appreciate is gratuitous cosplay. However,
Uh-oh.
yeah. Once again, with the theme of having some fun today, I thought we'd take a look at what is considered the really good current day and well done cosplay. So I thought let's take a look at it and see what we think. Here we got Black Canary. I think she's done a pretty good job. What do you get? What do you think?
Not bad. She's unfortunately not endowed enough in certain area, but that's okay. It's not her
Yeah,
fault.
well, she can't do anything about that, and she's not a natural blonde either. But
No.
but I think she tried well, and I recognize immediately it's Black Canary though.
Yeah.
So she did her job. So all right, there you go. And now that is not bad, dude.
No,
That's
it's
not
pretty
bad
good.
at all, dude.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty
Proper
good.
Superman.
That's proper Superman. Yeah, but good job there, dude. All right, we got her lips are a bit pouty for me, but that's not a bad Black Widow at all, dude.
It's a nice rear section, it looks like, too.
She's a cute girl. I think she's really kind of real teeny, but I think she's
I,
I think she's done a
how I
very
like
good
them.
job.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Yeah. So all right, she is a cute girl too.
I would make mistakes with her.
Mm. Now this right here is done.
That took some time. Oof.
It did, but it's also done in a cheaper than it could have been. And I think this dude has done an amazing job.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that's pretty
he's
good.
pulling off the spandex, dude. He's literally pulling it off.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's
Pretty
not bad,
good.
dude. That's not bad. Winter Soldier here, Bucky Barnes.
Nice.
That's not bad at all. I'm digging it. He did a good job in the arm there. Now, do you think he made that, or is that just off the shelf? You think?
I probably made that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty good, dude. Good job. Good job. That's not bad. That's not a bad Fury. Yeah.
See, there's another example of a race swap that never bugged me. I don't
Yeah.
mind Black Nick Fury. I think just because Sam Jackson played it so well, and he just, he's Sam Jackson. He
Yeah.
just owns the roles he comes into. I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. No,
Didn't
I
bother
didn't
me
mind
one
it
bit.
either. And I've always seen the MCU as more of a Marvel Ultimates anyway.
Yeah, like a spin-off type deal. Yeah.
And it is sad that we lost the original Nick Fury because no one would recognize him now. But Samuel L. Jackson took it seriously and he embodied the role. So rock on, dude, rock on. This is not a bad cosplay, and for this dude, this is a fairly easy cosplay for this guy to pull off. Actually,
Yep.
yeah, good for
Hey.
you, dude.
Hey, work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, that's right, dude. That's right. That's okay. It's okay. The costume's great.
Yeah,
I think.
he's just not as pretty as
Yeah.
old Tommy Boy.
No, he's not. And I have a feeling a lot of this is off the shelf though. But that's all right too. I don't care about that. But yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. Wow. Wow, she did a good
Well
job,
done.
dude. That's
That's
really
well
well
done.
done. Good on you.
That was work there. That took hours.
It did, man. Good job. That is one thing I really do appreciate about conventions is the cosplaying. I know people complain about it, but I think it's cool because I grew up in an era where we only got to wear costumes once a year, Halloween, right? But the fact that you can go several times a year to events and put on your cosplay and go and have some fun, I think it's wonderful. I love it. And I'm not a cosplayer, but I appreciate them. And they're having fun, dude. And this girl took a lot of time. She did a good job too. And you can see this is hand done. Her friends helped her out. This is not professional, but it's rocks, dude. Good job, girl. That is a furry, but that is badass.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That is really good, dude. That is badass cosplay. Of course, the problem is he's a normal size human, but rock on, dude. Uh, 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 it's off the shelf. It's not bad though. It's not bad. Yeah.
Problem is they've uglified Supergirl so much that she actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, no. I understand girls wanting to be Supergirl. I get it. I do. And rock on. I think she did fine here. It feels a little bit off the shelf, but I don't know if that matters. This is another easy costume to pull off, but I think the thing that helps him is he kind of looks like Chris Pratt a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
look at this one in the back though. Look at the
They
one in
could
the
be
back.
cousins.
That's pretty cool, dude.
Oh man, imagine walking around in those shoes all day. Oof.
Yeah, I know it's rough, but these cosplayers, man, they take it seriously and they have fun, dude. I think it's cool. This is
Holy
badass,
cow!
dude. This guy's killing it. He's killing it, dude.
I don't even want to know how hot he is in that. Oh my.
That's fair. That is fair. He might have one of those little fans going on in the back, though. But
You need one.
mm, now I don't know. You think that's off the shelf? I don't think so.
No. He
Yeah.
made that. Yeah, he made
He
that.
made that. So, and that's a good job, dude. That's a really good job. Once again, it's off the shelf clearly, but she sells that, dude. I'm buying it 100%. I'm buying that.
Yeah, it's a shame. We're not allowed to have that anymore, Chester. That's forbidden. Especially with that hair. Come on, that color? You're not allowed. What are you doing?
Yeah,
It's
no.
against the rules. Somebody set out the rules, and Redheads was clearly against them. Because, my goodness, have they gone on a crusade against the Redhead?
They have, dude. I don't know what that is all about, but they definitely hate the redhead. And yeah, Bob, he said the last con I went to, I had some really good cosplay. One of the only places women are still allowed to be hot. I went to the Tokyo Comic Con a couple of years ago, which I talked about, and I put a video out too. And it was mainly just cosplay, is really what was going on. But there was some badass stuff. There were some dudes who put some money and serious time into Iron Man costumes. I mean, they were
Yeah.
good, dude. They were really, really good. And like I said, this girl hasn't put it that level of effort in, but she's all good, man. She's good. She's welcome. Poison Ivy. Um, I think she made this costume. I feel, and good on her. This probably isn't the best character for her to pull off. I
No.
mean, she's a normal size girl, and that's fine. But I think her face is a little puffy to play Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy has more of a she's a sharper featured type of character, but I don't know. That's
Mhm.
nitpicking, I think.
Well, she's also just prettier
Way
than that,
prettier,
that
yeah,
lady.
which is weird that they made her gay, dude. It's so strange.
Because of course.
Yeah.
Because no one's allowed to just have a friend anymore. You gotta want to stick your vagina or your penis in or around their mouth, or else you're just weird now. That's just how it is.
Well, the thing I saw some time back, I don't know where it was, an animated or there was an article talking about it. I didn't see the book or the anime myself. I think it might have been animated, but they basically they were complaining in the article that they were kind of hinting at because of her plant control powers, she's basically some manner of faux transgender. So it's like pick a lane, I guess. I don't know what they're
Yeah.
doing, but whatever. And that's that. But I thought it would be fun to take a look at some attractive cosplay, but this really well done. These people have done a good job, and I don't know what it is. I know a lot of people kind of mock and laugh at the cosplay thing, but I don't understand why. They go into a convention to enjoy the thing they like. They've taken some time to put on a costume. They're not hurting anybody whatsoever. Matter of fact, they're super friendly. They love for you to come up and take pictures of them and chat with them. And I don't understand the hate against these people at all. I don't get it.
I think it's because some of them have ulterior motives,
What do you
and
mean?
well, they'll come in and they'll do these things, and they're doing it to make money off of it, or just solely for clout, and they don't really care about it. There's a lot of
Okay.
like grifters in
Oh, I
that
see.
community,
Well, yeah, you're
and
gonna
people don't like grifters.
Yeah.
And I think that's really all it is. But actual genuine cosplayers who are just doing it because they love it, I don't think anybody actually has a problem with that. I think it's the grifting mentality that comes
Okay.
along with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that, but me in general, I think it's a place where they can freely do this, and I think it's cool that they have an opportunity to do it. I've never been the face painter. I've never been the big costume guy. Of course, for Halloween, I've worn plenty of costumes on Halloween, of course, but it's not my thing. But I appreciate that they can do it. And I've heard so much flack against cosplayers, and I don't get it. The furry community I understand is kind of weird because they spend as much of their free time as they can in these costumes, so it is a bit odd. But there was a conversation that I was having on another site a year and a half, 2 years ago. Because I have a lot of friends here in Asia, and it was actually talking about the weird cultures of Asia. And these weird people that dress differently get a lot of flack. But here's the thing, as far as my take on it, and I'm the most mundane, banal person you'll ever meet. Ask Thundero. Um,
Yeah.
but the thing with it is, um, they're not hurting anybody. They're not. I mean, if you have some that are like rowdy and vandalizing shit like punks would do back in the 70s and 80s, that's another conversation. But these people aren't hurting anybody whatsoever. They're simply looking for an identity and a group to be with. They're all young. They're going to grow out of it anyway. And yeah, they're weird and they're trying to get attention, but so what? There's so much hate toward these kind of things, and it's like, well, as long as they're not hurting anyone and also themselves, because some of that is a problem. I just don't understand them. Let them have their fun, you know.
You mean cosplayers?
Cosplayers, in weird, clicky fashion groups, even the strange ones like the K-pop copiers. Now, some of them go
Hmm.
too far. They're hurting themselves. They're cutting on themselves. That's not good. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the kids that dress up and belong to a little clique in their high school or in their neighborhood, things like that. And they get a lot of hate, especially here in Asia. Asia does not like abnormal. They do not like it. You
Yeah.
you you
Conformity.
follow the straight normal because they have an expression here where we say the squeaky wheel gets the grease. They say the nail that sticks up gets hammered down, and they live by that
Yeah.
shit over here, dude. So these
Well,
kind of
and I understand where they're coming from.
yeah,
There is some wisdom in it,
sure,
but there's also something to be said for allowing a little bit of chaos, a little bit of oddity to let your thing evolve, let your society, your culture evolve. And that's one of the reasons why the West has been so dominant was the freedom to express yourself, allowed people to grow and whatnot. Now I think we've gone too far on that front, and we need to pull that back just a smidge. We don't need to go full on Islam, but we need to pull it back, just
a little
rein it in a bit.
a little bit maybe.
And other than that, I think that's why I think there's a little bit of wisdom in it. These are some of the oldest civilizations still functioning today, and that's one of the reasons why, because they don't like people going too far against the grain too quickly. Now, Japan has been a very adaptive people, and they adapted to the Western ways with relative speed compared to the rest of Asia,
Yeah,
and that's why they're so successful.
yeah.
But there still is some of that old mentality, like you're talking about, where
Oh,
they
yeah.
don't like change and they fight it and they resist it. And like I said, there is wisdom in that. It's a balance, right? I think wisdom is basically just knowing when to apply pressure and when to let go, right? When to make a move and when not to. It's that simple. where to place your worry. Do you place your worry over here, or do you place it over here? If you misplace your worry, it can literally kill you, and people have literally died over it. If you don't, and you place your worry correctly, you'll live probably a happy life.
That's true,
Um,
and it is about balance, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah,
And Amron here, he's joking, but this says, then why weren't you around for the Sonic character? Well, of course I was on vacation, but beyond that, the question in and of itself, everything in moderation, dude, and a little bit of degeneracy is fine, but too much degeneracy is not. And trust me, and a lot of you know this, a lot of you are older and you understand what I'm saying. I spent a lot of my life working in entertainment and in particularly the sex industry, and I have seen firsthand what a excessive amount of degeneracy can do to you. It's not
yes,
good for you, man. A little bit
correct.
is fine. It's adventurous, it's thrilling, but you need moderation in everything, right?
Hmm.
And this is no different. When you have these girls these days, which seem to be more than the majority of the boys, but a larger majority are girls that are literally going out and have 30, 50, 100 partners, this is not good for them. It's not
No,
good for their brain, especially seeing as they don't have the mechanism that males have in our brain. We actually have a chemical that they don't even have. Women don't even, it doesn't even exist in the female body. We have a
that's right.
chemical that allows us to switch between polygamous and monogamous relationships. And you can, if you think about it, you look at the how humans existed back in our more primal time, you'll understand why that exists. Women don't have that. There's no coming back from it for them. And this level of degeneracy we have today, it's too far. It's too far.
Yes.
It's not good for you. And that crap you guys are doing with Sonic, it's degenerate to the nth degree, dude. It's full up degeneracy.
it's, it's true. I just like how you brought it back to the Sonic. I wasn't expecting that.
I was making a point. I was circulating it.
Oh, that's good. No, you're correct though. I think most reasonable people agree that we've gone too far, and the
Yeah.
problem is when I said this the other day to somebody. Um, things like Hitler and all these guys who rose up hardcore. Uh, what do you want to call it? Hardcore socially conservative people. They didn't rise up in a vacuum, and they rose up in a response to when the people's needs weren't being met in regards to, in a lot of ways, degeneracy, not just financially but also socially. People don't like it, and family people especially don't like it, and just normal people, good right thinking people don't like degeneracy to a certain extent. Now, something is one thing, but I think you'll find that a great example nowadays is the stuff doing all this sexuality stuff around children.
Yeah,
People
that's
don't like
really
that.
too far. Yeah, that's too
That's
far.
super unpopular for a reason, and there's a reason they have to use unbelievable tactics to try and get it done. But my point is when the people's needs are not met, when this demand, everything's a market. Everything in the human discourse is a market. Everything in the human experience between societies, inter-societies, is a market. When that demand is not met, eventually it becomes a command. And someone takes command and leads, and then there's basically a purge, is the best way to put it, of that sort of stuff from society. And that means innocent people who happen to just be a little bit deviant get hurt. And I don't want to see that happen personally. I
No,
know I make a
that's
lot of
true.
jokes, but that's not what I want to see actually happen. What I actually want to see happen is we pull back the reins, tighten society up, get back to a little bit sense of sanity before
Yeah.
we drive ourselves either off the cliff or someone comes in, saves us from the cliff, but in doing so has to destroy a lot of good people.
Yeah. Well, and it's that, and the problem is they're jading themselves, and it becomes ever more degenerate
Yep.
because it's this constant search. But I mean, and I'm a true libertarian. You guys know this. You do whatever you want. I'm not judging you. I'm just giving my opinion and my experience. However, I would ask you this simple question: take a girl, sexy as hell girl, right? You have her butt naked in front of you, or you have her in a beautiful full-length sundress with the sun is behind her and silhouetting her body. Which is sexier?
Mm, mm, sundress.
Damn straight
Well,
it is.
most likely the sundress. I've seen some women that actually do look better naked, but typically the sundress because it leaves more to your imagination.
That's right. And that's kind of the point. You want to leave room for imagination. And they've
Yeah.
become so desperate in their, and it is desperation, in their fanatic need for sexuality that they're destroyed the fantasy of it. They've
Yep.
destroyed the imagination of it. And this is why things are getting so absolutely out of control, decadent, to the point that, I mean, let's be fair, Amaran. That Sonic shit, that is twisted as shit, dude. That is twisted.
It is. Uh, I think that everyone needs to remember that humanity, even our societies and our civilizations, and us in general, as much as we like to pretend, we are not outside the laws of nature, and
No,
nature's laws are reciprocal. For every action, there will be an equal and opposite reaction.
that's
It
right.
will happen. And I would rather it happen lesser than greater, because it's going to be hell. But what do I know? I'm just some dude living in Ohio.
Fair enough. Oh, that girl did a good. I found some other ones here. I clicked on it. That
Let's
is
see.
a good Gal Gadot Wonder Woman. That is good job, girl. That is really good job.
Oh.
I just want to look at more of them. Okay, all righty. Yeah, that's not as good. That's not bad. That's a good looking Daenerys. That's not
Mm-hmm.
bad. I don't know what this is supposed to be. The Game of Thrones girl. It's all right. She's very similar. That's not a bad Naruto.
Kakashi!
That's not
One of the
bad.
best characters in Naruto right there. He's a great character.
Yeah, my children love that show. All right. That's not bad. Oh, that's really good, dude. Good job, dude.
Spectacular!
That's awesome, dude.
Shit, it's like Heath came back from the dead. Oh my, he's got the body build, the perfect build, and everything. Wow.
That is awesome, dude. Good
Wow.
job. Good job. That's not a bad Logan, dude. That's not bad at all.
No?
This is, of course, Cowboy Bebop. They put a lot of filters on this. However, I think they did something to the legs. I think they stretched her out a bit, but I don't think that's real. I think there's a lot of filtering and work going on in that. I don't even know what this character is. Naruto?
Hinata. Yeah, Hinata from Naruto. His
Yeah.
wife.
Oh, okay. There you go. I don't know what that is, but I'm all about it.
The Baroness 3 from G.I. Joe.
That is a pretty girl, dude. Look at her.
That is a very pretty Asian lady.
Yeah.
By Elodia. I'm not even going to try that last name. Elodia is a pretty name, too.
Kosing Fio? I don't know. All right. This is One Punch Man, of course. I recognize
That's
that
nice.
character. Yeah, that's not bad. So I appreciate the cosplayers, but everything in moderation, I guess. Anyway, let's see. I did have. I don't know if we want to bother with it. I can do it another time, but I think we are kind of up to our time, so we kind of have to call it. But however, I would like to take some time one day to take a look at sideshow collectibles,
I like it.
and hot toys and things like that, because I absolutely adore these things, man. I think they're awesome. I think they're also pretty fairly priced for what you're getting. You can spend 100 to 800 bucks, maybe a couple thousand in certain cases, some of the real big ones. But I know that's a lot of money, but for what you're getting, it's not. I feel, me personally, maybe you guys disagree, but I do have a building that I set aside intentionally, and I've actually done some remodeling work in it, so that when I get up to retirement here, and I'll probably open it sooner, but I am going to open a little live house. Just some. Make some Cuban sandwiches, some hamburgers, maybe just simple little fun, tasty food. A place where a band can play, people come and hang out. Just as a live house, right? I'm going to build. And what I want to do, my idea is, it's a very old warehouse that I'm turning into the live house, but it has these poles that are supporting the ceiling, but instead of them being like just straight in the middle of the room or on the outside wall, they're actually a little bit in from the outside wall. So it's almost as if they put these pillars all the way down, built a structured framework above it, and just kind of laid down a framing and then the cladding on the outside of it. It's a little different than I've ever seen before. However, in between each of these columns is kind of like a pocket. Now, what I want to do is drop in the kind of a booth seating type of thing. Just kind of build them
Mm.
up and get an upholsterer to make them, kind of custom them. But but I have enough room where I can put a little shelf into the wall behind each of these booth seatings. And I want to create like I have enough room for like at least 8 little diorama, and I was thinking of buying a bunch of these kind of things like Sideshow Collectibles or Hot Toys or whatever, and creating like a X-Men one, Avengers one, a Yamato one, maybe Naruto or something like that. Having kind of the pop culture type of dioramas throughout the place, and then decorate the rest of the place in very much of a pop culture type of live house. I thought that would be cool. What do you think?
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, and I have I'm not particularly good at it myself. I do paint miniatures, but I'm not particularly very good at modeling. However, there is a modeling community in the town over the mountain, and they're very much into that kind of stuff, and they can make all kind of stuff. So I was thinking about enlisting some of them to help make the diorama. So get some of these Sideshow Collectibles, and then have these modeler guys create diorama for the statue, or the maquettes, I guess is what they call it, to interact with themselves. That's my big plan. It's a bit of an expensive. It's a bit of an expensive luxury. You don't need to do it, but it's a retirement business. It's not really about making money.
Yeah. No, I like it. I
Yeah.
think it's a good idea. I think why not? Why not? Sometimes you just do things because why not do them?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, I agree. You can do like a Star Wars one, and it's just stuff the Japanese would recognize, and they recognize Disney stuff, of course. I definitely the Yamato one. I have a giant, geez, I don't know, 4 feet long, 3.5 feet long Yamato model. Still in the box. I
Yeah.
haven't built it yet, but it lights up. It makes sounds. The turrets move. It's pretty badass, dude. And my painting skills go up to the point that I could paint it, and at a distance it would look good, I think. But I'm definitely going to have a Yamato one. That would be really cool. But it's just I want to kind of sit and one day and talk about Sideshow Collectibles. I'm not going to do it today. And my Israeli friend seems to have some problem. I don't know what the problem is. This is unfortunate. But anyway, let me come over here and jump back over to the other side. I don't know what it is with those Israelis, man. You guys got to get your shit together. You got to be more friendly. I think that's the issue.
They're angry. They're an angry
They
people,
are.
Chester.
They're angry people. Yeah. Although on of course this is Elrod, but as a side thing though, my God, dude, the hate from around the world that came toward Israel. They literally are bombing the shit out of Israel, and
Yeah.
people are bitching. Are you kidding me?
My only complaint is how
Thousands of
much.
missiles.
My only complaint is how in bed our government is with the Israeli government. Other than that, I just don't care. I could not give less of a shit about what happens 5, 6, 7,000, whatever it is, thousands of miles away on the other side of the world. America has so many problems right now that are beyond crisis level that we are simply just not dealing with, and nobody wants to deal with. I don't care about it. I'm sorry, I don't care about desert people. They've been fighting each other over that land for
That's fair
6,000
enough.
years.
That's
Let them
fair
fight to
enough.
the death.
But
For all I care.
But I'm just saying, how ridiculous was that news from coverage from around the world, dude? I mean, you've got to be kidding me. They're literally getting thousands of missiles thrown down on them from nothing. It was just hey, we haven't been heard from in a while. Let's show our face, or show our ass, really. But anyway, I don't want to get into that conversation. It's just I thought it was ridiculous. Be careful, Chester. You get addicted, and then you go broke. Well, I understand that, but I'm an eminently practical person, Roger, which is why I work in Japan so well. A lot of foreigners that come here, some of them make it like a decade, but most foreigners don't stay here. They go home because they can't deal with the just overwhelming practical nature of the Japanese. I love it because I'm that way. I fit in just like the little chocolate in the box, man. I work here. Well, I do, right?
You're the white chocolate in the yellow box. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, I am. Well, actually, a lot of Japanese are more white than white people are. But
I'm aware. Yeah.
yeah, but and the good thing is with well, I think the good thing with me is I'm not a sycophant either, right? I love a lot of things about Japan and a lot of shit I don't like, right? I'm not the
Yeah.
oh my god, Japan. I'm not a Japophile. I'm my own person. But yet I do appreciate and I fit into the mold very well. I don't buck it because it's my nature to be that way. The amount of hours and stuff I work in a day, it's normal. It's normal here, right? I'm not
Mm.
odd. I'm not weird. I'm not unique in that way. And of course, one of the other things is being a white man in Asia, you kind of get the gaijin benefit. I mean, it's just that I can't complain about it. So
It does have its benefits, huh?
it does. And Japan's not as strong as say China. I mean, hero worship in China, white man worship in China is enormous, dude.
Yeah, you
But
can literally get paid to just be the office white guy
you
in
can
China.
be. You very easily you can be. And the
Yeah.
amount of women that are going to absolutely just throw themselves at you is insane. And a lot of dudes who come over just because they want to, hey, let's go see Asia. They run into trouble because there's so many girls, and they've never had that many girls coming at them. And the simple thing is, dating and having sex with lots of girls. Sure, it's fun for a little while, but it gets old, and you've built a reputation for yourself, right? So
Yeah.
now finding a girl in the area you're living who might actually want to marry you, that's a problem because you're a slut, you're a lecher, right? And a lot of Western dudes get themselves in trouble that way. But
Hmm.
yeah, there is white privilege, Joshua, for white people in Asia. Absolutely, there is, dude.
Yeah.
There's power
It's
in it.
interesting. It's interesting. You know how we make fun of people saying that certain black people are white supremacists or whatever. It does seem like many of the Asians are. Like they love white people. They're
They
a
do.
big fan of white people.
They do. Yeah. And of course, it also helps that I'm very tall. I have got a lot of gray now, but I still have blonde in my hair. And I got these striking my eyes change color quite a bit because they're so light. Everybody's eyes do. But mine are so light that you can see the color change a lot easier. However, it's just the effect of it is crazy, dude. I'm an old guy with a bit of a paunch. I mean, I'm not that overweight, but I have a dad bod, right? But I hide it well with the clothing I have. But however, I walk around and I get eyes on me all the time, dude, all the time. And I'm a old dude. I'm 50. I'm way
They're like,
past
oh,
sexual market value.
Gojira, Gojira.
Well, it's usually Gulliver is usually what it is, not Gojira. But
Oliver.
Well, no, but it's crazy, right? Because I'm way, and I don't need it anyway. I'm very happily married. I sowed my oats a long time ago, and I'm good. But I'm way past my sexual market value, right? I have monetary value, I suppose.
Well, see, I don't know how true that is, though. How old are you? You're in your 50s, right? Early 50s?
50, yeah, 51.
Nah, you're still got a good 10 years left. Men,
Well,
men, men have the blessing of masculinity, and
it's true.
our SMV, our sexual market value, is longer lasting than women.
Yeah,
By
no, that's
usually,
true. That is
typically.
true. But you know what I
So
mean. You know
it does
what I
help.
mean. It's certainly reduced. Let's put it
Yeah.
that
Oh,
way.
well, yeah.
Because here in Japan, I teach. I have a lot of kids around me, and the kids adore me because I make them laugh and they feel comfortable, and that's your job as a teacher anyway. And I've learned that over time. It's not something I naturally was good at. But the middle-aged ladies are just they're constantly coming at me, right? And my wife makes jokes of it. It's so constant. Unfortunately, that 20 to 30-year-old 35-year-old range that it would actually be flattering to me, they don't give a shit.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's gone. That's done. But that's all right though. But it is something that you have to get a little used to living in Asia because in America you don't get that. I mean, sure, you learn the game, and I had plenty of ladies in my life, but it's a well practiced routine, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Over here, just existing. If you're a tall white dude, man, damn, dude, you know. And the only thing I would suggest, if any of you do come over to Asia to kind of check that out, be patient. Don't dive in so quick because when you come over, these Asian ladies, particularly the southern ones, Southeast Asia, they're so little, and their features are so light and elven-like that every woman you see you think is beautiful. It's not true. And it takes you a while for your eyes, your brain to acclimate to the environment. So you got to find a lot of hardworking women who would be really good wives. Lots of them, tons of them. Throw a rock, you're going to hit a good wife here in Asia. However, you could get a good wife who is a nice person who is also attractive if you're patient. Because I see a lot of guys that just come in and they snap up with the first girl that shows any interest in them, and it's really not a pretty girl, but their mind is not acclimated to the environment enough to know that. Not saying that ugly people don't deserve love too, because they do. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just be a little patient. That first girl, the unattractive girl, might be the right one for you. But trust me, you need to acclimate your brain to understand what actually is attractive, because initially you can't see it. However, anyway, we do need to go, Thundero.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Get
But
out of here.
now, thank you all very much for coming in here and joining us. I think it was a fun day. We had a lot of fun conversations today, not so much heavy stuff, and I think we need to do that more actually, because we didn't want to be so depressing all the time, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you all very much. Definitely keep in mind that tomorrow we have our continuation. We're still in the dungeon of the Duke Horfrost in the Dungeons and Dragon game. Super nerds are welcome. The rest of you guys can just, fuck right off. But anyway, Thundero, why don't you namaste us out of here, dude?
I'm gonna namaste us out of here with something that I've written in my book.
Oh,
One
you've
of the
got a
main
book.
characters of the book is a very wise man, and it's on the theme of misplacing your worry. And he says, "Do not misplace your worry, for this is wisdom. When you are poor or weak, worry after your strength and wealth. When you are rich or strong, worry after the weak and poor. Place your worry correctly, for misplaced worry has killed millions."
Ooh,
That's all I got.
namaste, dude. Damn. All right. Later, guys.